Hey there, welcome to today's lesson. I am absolutely thrilled to be walking through this explainer with you today. If you're an 8th grade student gearing up for a big project right now, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're focusing on the one thing that can turn a pretty good presentation into an absolutely unforgettable one, your delivery. Now, I know stepping up to the front of the class can feel, well, a little intimidating, but we are going to tackle this together, step by step. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's build some serious confidence.
Okay, let's just be honest for a second. Have you ever sat in class, watching someone present, and it was just really confusing? Think back to a time when you watched a classmate stare straight down at their shoes, mumble into their notes, or maybe they clicked through their information so fast you couldn't read a single word. It's kind of awkward, right? You want to pay attention, you want to be supportive, but you just can't track what they're saying. Look, we've all been in that audience, and if we're being completely real, we've probably all been that speaker a time or two. It definitely happens. But today, we're going to learn how to make sure your audience never feels that way when you're the one holding the notes.
So, here is our quick agenda for today. 1. Why good delivery matters. 2. Practice leads to progress. 3. Your 3-step rehearsal plan. 4. Using feedback to grow. And 5. The godly learner philosophy. We're going to fix those common delivery mistakes together.
All right, Section 1, Why Good Delivery Matters, focusing on content versus delivery. Because having the best content in the world just isn't enough on its own.
Think about it like this. Great content plus weak delivery literally equals a lost message. Imagine you spent hours, maybe days, researching a topic. You wrote the perfect essay. You dug up the most fascinating facts. You built this beautiful visual presentation. You did all the hard work. But if your delivery is weak, like if you speak too quietly or you never look up, your audience simply won't understand or remember any of it. All that incredible hard work just gets lost. Think of your delivery as the vehicle that drives your great ideas directly to the minds of your audience. If the vehicle breaks down, well, the ideas never arrive. When our adrenaline spikes, we tend to fall into some very normal, very human delivery pitfalls. We default to these awkward pauses where we lose our place. Unclear wording, mumbling, speaking way too fast, because actually, scratch that. It's usually just because you want it to be over. And of course, avoiding eye contact. These are entirely relatable nervous habits. But here's the tricky part. We often don't even realize we're doing them. You might think you're speaking at a totally normal volume, but to the folks in the back row, you're practically whispering. You literally won't know until you practice and someone points it out.
Which brings us right to Section 2. Practice leads to progress. It's time to shift your mindset away from that public speaking anxiety.
Before we get into the actual nuts and bolts of practicing, I really want to anchor our lesson in this amazing piece of scripture. Proverbs 22:29 asks, "Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings." I love this verse because it reminds us that our diligence matters. Developing our skills, whether it's math, writing, or, yes, even giving a class presentation, is a highly biblical way to honor God. When we take the time to refine our abilities and become truly skilled, we aren't just trying to get an A on a rubric. We're demonstrating a spirit of excellence that honors the Lord and opens doors for our future.
So how do we approach all that hard work? Well, you've probably heard the old phrase, practice makes perfect. Let's just bust that myth right now. The truth is, practice makes progress. I want to completely relieve the pressure for you right now. You do not have to be perfect. Even professional speakers stumble over a word or lose their place for a split second. Practicing isn't about becoming some flawless programmed robot. It's simply about making steady progress so you can connect better with your listeners. Every single time you run through your presentation, you're ironing out a little wrinkle. You're making progress. Let's move to Section 3, your 3-step rehearsal plan. Let's talk about taking action. I want you to follow this exact 3-step sequence for your next project. Step 1, practice alone and time it. And when I say practice, I definitely do not mean reading your notes silently in your head while lounging on your bed. No way. You need to physically stand up, use your notes, and speak out loud at least twice. Time yourself to make sure you fit the limit. Step 2, present to a small audience. Grab a sibling, a parent, a friend, whoever. Step 3, adjust based on feedback. We're going to talk about that more in a second, but this 3-step loop is absolute magic for building a confident delivery. Now, when you get to Step 2, presenting to that small practice audience, you can't just ask, "Hey, was that good?" Because they'll almost always just nod and go, "Yeah, it was fine." You need specific feedback. Instruct your practice audience to answer these specific questions. Was my voice clear? Did I speak too fast? Did the visuals actually help, or were they distracting? Was I engaging to watch? By asking these specific questions, you're giving your friends or family permission to give you helpful, constructive honesty. That brings us perfectly to Section 4, using feedback to grow. Let's look at how minor adjustments can bring major results.
Look, feedback isn't an attack on you, it's a secret weapon for your growth. Here are some real-world examples of what to do with it. If your audience tells you that you're reading from your notes too much, your adjustment is simple. Just memorize the first line of each section. That way you can look up right when you start a new thought. If your feedback is that you rushed and finished early, your adjustment is to intentionally slow down and physically mark pauses in your notes after key points. If your voice is too soft, practice projecting as if you're speaking to someone standing way in the back of the room. See, you don't have to change your entire personality, you just make these minor strategic adjustments.
To make sure you really apply this, here's your homework reflection. Ask yourself these 5 things. First, how many times did you practice your full presentation today? Second, what is one thing your practice audience actually liked? Celebrate that. Third, what is one suggested improvement they gave you? Fourth, how exactly are you going to apply it before the final presentation? And fifth, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about delivering it now? If you use this feedback loop, I guarantee that confidence number is going to shoot straight up.
Finally, Section 5, the Godly Learner Philosophy. Let's pull the lens back and discuss the ultimate purpose behind our learning.
Take a look at this incredible truth from Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. This is so foundational to how we approach everything we do in school. True life and true peace, even when you are super nervous about a big presentation, only come when we keep our minds spiritually focused. If we're only focused on getting a grade or maybe showing off for our own ego, we are entirely missing the point.
And this brings us right to the core of the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners philosophy. We intertwine biblical morality with education because, honestly, education without morality can actually hurt. Just being smart isn't enough. Knowledge and intelligence should help you make wise, God-honoring choices, rather than simply making you more capable of doing whatever you want. True wisdom honors God, like we just read in Romans. Keeping the mind spiritually minded is what leads to life and peace. My greatest encouragement to you today is to pursue absolute academic excellence. Go become an amazing presenter, but keep your mind centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on righteous choices.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. As you practice your delivery, as you learn to speak clearly and confidently in front of a room, ask yourself, will you use your newly sharpened communication skills just for yourself, to build your own kingdom? Or will you use them to boldly share God's truth with a world that desperately needs to hear it? The choice is absolutely yours. Keep practicing, keep making progress, and use your voice for something that truly matters. Thanks for joining me for today's Explainer, and I'll see you next time.